defending champion is here, the top three in Europe this year. They are the only three in Europe in 2026 who've gone under 11 seconds.
11 seconds. That is all it took for a 24-year-old from Cambridge to turn 3 straight silver medals into the single biggest win of her career. And to do it, standing next to the woman who had owned this race for over a decade.
Swoboda going away with this one, Amy Hunt coming through. Is it going to be gold for Britain? It is indeed, and silver there for Swoboda of Poland. And the winning time, 11 seconds exactly.
This is the story of the European Championships Women's 100-meter final. A race that had already burned through 3 rounds in a single day, and a field so stacked that the 3 fastest women in Europe this year were all standing on the same start line at the same time. By the end of it, one runner would be in tears of joy, another would be left wondering what could have been by 1/100th of a second, and the reigning European #1 would be knocked clean out of the medals. If races like this are your thing, hit subscribe right now so you don't miss the breakdown, and drop a like before we get into the field, because this one gets wild fast. Let's set the stage. 8 finalists, 8 completely different stories. In lane 2, Dinah Asher-Smith, 30 years old, the defending champion, a former World Junior champion, a woman who had already collected 25 major championship medals across her career. She had scraped through her semi-final as a non-automatic qualifier, running 11.10, clearly capable of faster. In lane 3, Imani Lansiquat, the reigning European indoor champion and the current world indoor champion, coming off an 11.11 semi-final. In lane 4, Amy Hunt, only 24 years old, but already a Commonwealth Games silver medalist, and more importantly, a World Championship silver medalist over 200 meters just months earlier. She had won her semi-final in 10.99, the fastest of anyone in the building that night, and her personal best of 10.97 had been set in Stockholm only 2 months before this race. Lane 5 belonged to Patricia van der Viken of Luxembourg, a semi-final time of 11.08 and a heartbreaking history in this event, having finished 4th at the European final 2 years earlier by the smallest possible margin. Lane 6 was Ewa Swoboda of Poland, a former European indoor champion at 60 meters and one of the fastest starters in the sport, who had cruised her semi-final in 11.10. Lane 7, Geraldine Detienne Frey of Switzerland, the breakout story of the entire season. 29 years old, a late developer, and the actual European #1 this year with a blistering 10.96 to her name, set just weeks earlier when she won the Swiss national title. Lane 8, Delphine Nkansa of Belgium, a woman who had represented 3 different countries at national level, running a season's best of 11.07 that morning. And out on the far left, Salome Cora of Switzerland, who had to sit and sweat for 20 minutes after her semi-final just to find out if her 11.12 was fast enough to sneak her into the final as a non-automatic qualifier. It was. Here's what made this final genuinely dangerous. Only 3 women in the whole of Europe had broken 11 seconds in 2026. All 3 of them were in this race. Detienne Frey was Europe's #1. Amy Hunt was Europe's #2. And for the first time all season, none of them were guaranteed anything. Remember too that this wasn't just a one-off sprint. Every single one of these 8 women had already raced 3 times that day. A first round in the morning, a semi-final a couple of hours before the final, and now this. By the time they walked out for the final, fatigue was as much of an opponent as anyone in the next lane. That's part of why composure mattered more than raw speed on paper. Running a fast time when you're fresh in April is one thing. Reproducing anything close to it on your 3rd race of the day under stadium lights with a continental title on the line is an entirely different challenge. The gun went, and almost immediately, this was not the race the form book predicted. Dosso of Italy exploded out of the blocks with one of the sharpest starts of the night. Right beside her, Swoboda was flying, using that trademark start speed to rip through the opening 30 meters and grab the lead outright. For a moment, It genuinely looked like Poland's fastest starter was going to run away with a European title. Then, Amy Hunt happened. Hunt is not a starter. She never has been. Her strength lives in the last 20 to 30 meters, the exact same trait that made her a 200-meter world silver medalist. True to form, as Swoboda hit the halfway mark still in front, Hunt began closing the gap with terrifying momentum. Tall, long striding, and completely unbothered by the pressure of the moment, she reeled in the leader with almost every step. By 80 meters, it was a two-woman race. Swoboda still technically ahead, Hunt eating up the track behind her. And then, in the final 10 meters, Hunt simply glided past. No lunge at the line needed, no desperate dip, just pure controlled top-end speed, carrying her clean through the finish first. The clock stopped at exactly 11.00 seconds. Gold for Great Britain for Amy Hunt. But the story behind her is just as dramatic. Swoboda held on for silver in 11.02, using that same electric start that had carried her to 6 European medals, now across indoor and outdoor competition. It's her calling card, and once again, it very nearly won her the whole race. Bronze went to Delphine and Kansa of Belgium, and this is where the season's best time she had run that very morning suddenly made sense. She closed hard, exactly the way a 200-meter specialist should, and crossed the line in a personal best of 11.06. For a runner who had switched national colors more than once in her career, this was the medal that mattered. Now for the two names everyone expected to be on that podium and weren't. Geraldine Detienne-Frey, the European #1, the fastest woman in Europe on paper all season, finished 4th, just off the medals, on the biggest stage of her career. In the same season, she'd broken 11 seconds for the very first time. Big performances under pressure are a different skill entirely from fast times on a quiet Tuesday in Switzerland, and tonight the gap showed. And then there's Dinah Asher-Smith, the defending champion, the UK's fastest woman ever on paper, with a 10.83 personal best sitting in her legs somewhere. She finished 6th. A sprint race this short punishes even the smallest mistake, and whatever went wrong off the blocks, there simply wasn't enough race left to fix it. 5th went to Van der Weyken of Luxembourg, agonizingly close to her first major medal yet again, missing the podium by just 1/100th of a second, the exact same margin that had haunted her 2 years earlier. Lance Aquat, the reigning world indoor champion, finished 7th. A reminder that indoor speed over 60 meters does not always translate cleanly to outdoor blocks over the full 100. Cora rounded out the field. So what actually decided this race? It wasn't raw top speed, because on paper, Detienne-Frey and Asher-Smith both had faster numbers in their legs than the woman who won gold. It came down to composure. Amy Hunt had already proven at a world championship level that she could deliver her absolute best when the stakes were highest, taking silver over 200 meters just months before this final. Swoboda proved, again, that an explosive start can carry you deep into a European final, even against faster finishers. And the two fastest women on paper, Detienne-Frey and Asher-Smith, both discovered the oldest lesson in this sport. A personal best set in training or an early season meet means absolutely nothing if you can't reproduce it under a stadium full of pressure. For Amy Hunt specifically, this win changes the conversation entirely. A world silver medal is impressive. A European gold, earned by outrunning the reigning European and world indoor champions in the same field, is the kind of result that turns a rising star into the outright favorite heading toward the next Olympic cycle. She's still only 24. Her 200-meter speed already suggests there's more raw ability there than an 11.00 meters shows on its own. If she can sharpen that start even slightly, the time still sitting ahead of her should be genuinely frightening for the rest of the field. It's also worth remembering what this medal actually looked like up close, because European Championship medals are not small. Commentators at the venue that night joked they were built like something out of a superhero film. Thick, heavy, unmistakably substantial in the hand. For a field of athletes who had just emptied the tank across 3 rounds in a single day, that weight around the neck is the entire payoff. Look at the age gaps in this final too, because they tell their own story about where this event is heading. Asher-Smith, the most decorated athlete on the start line, is 30 and now fighting to hold off a new generation. Detienne Frey, at 29, is proof that breakthroughs can still happen late in a sprinter's career. And then you have Hunt and Nkansa, both firmly inside their physical prime, both still building. If this final is any indication of where European women's sprinting is trending, the next major championship should be even faster and even less predictable. That's the full breakdown of one of the most unpredictable finals of the season. 3 podium finishers running personal bests or near bests when it mattered most, and 2 of the fastest women in Europe left standing outside the medals entirely. If you want more breakdowns like this one, hit subscribe so you never miss a race recap, and drop a comment below telling us who you think takes gold next time these women line up again. Type speed academics in the comments if you're locked in for the next one. See you in the next video.